We're the indie project Bee and Theo, and we've been living and travelling the world in vans for the past 6 years. We're currently renovating an abandoned stone barn in Portugal to turn into a beautiful tiny home for us and our cats Ginjey Bear and Furrnando. Follow our journey from the very beginning as we document the whole process of creating an off-grid home.
Good morning guys, welcome to the trench behind the house, the barn. You guys are still getting angry at me every time I call it a barn.
You're the one who made that rule.
It is a barn conversion that is going to be our house. But anyway, you can see how good the pointing looks and I've nearly completed it. I've got probably another hour or so to go.
1 hour? How mad is that?
1 hour and then this back wall will be completely done. And
this has been the worst bit, I've got to say.
yeah, it wasn't so much pointing. This wall was not in the greatest condition. Out of all of the walls, this was probably the worst, well, definitely the worst, which means I ended up having to rebuild a lot of the wall. If you come over here, you can see what I was working on yesterday down here. A lot of mortar and a lot of stones have gone into this, and I almost had to build about 2 foot of wall.
I've got to say, it was quite therapeutic getting all the dirt out yesterday though.
Yeah, Bee was my magnificent assistant. She got all the dirt out and then I just went along on my hands and knees and just pointed my heart out. But we're getting there, and it means that we can move inside really soon. So I'm going to crack on with this bit down here. Probably got about a 3 foot section that needs doing, maybe a metre. I'm going to get that done, but first I need to get the hoover on, my new favourite tool. So there's a hole down here, I believe. Oh, it's tight in this ditch. I believe it's this one that corresponds with a bit of damp on the other side of the wall that's already been rendered. So this really needs to be taken care of. The only reason we're having this problem is because a lot of these Portuguese properties, and what they do is, because the land is not flat and it's built into a slope, they just pile up all the dirt and anything that's around here, the old roof tiles, anything they can do to build it up. They just level it off to the wall, which causes obviously damp coming through. Well, now it's all pointed. We've dug a ditch. There's never going to be earth touching the wall ever again. And we're also going to have drainage and guttering. The main reason we had water that was so high behind here in the last storm was because we don't have guttering. So I've been on the phone, that flies back in my ear.
It's trying to work with you, it's what it wants.
I've been on the phone to various different companies, there's not many around this area, to try and get some guttering that's extruded, I think is the word. Extruded on site, which basically means you can't buy in the store the length that we need. They have to build it on site to make sure it's all one piece, and then they can weld the down pipes and make it look really nice, and then we can shoot the water off somewhere else.
Just snuck up here, which is my favourite spot in the barn, to have a little break, and eventually when the bedroom area is done, I'm going to have a little seat there where I can sit and read for hours on end. But that's not something that I've been able to do recently because of all the building, and I do miss reading a full-length book. But that actually brings me on to today's sponsor, which is Blinkist. So Blinkist is a brilliant app that allows you to read a full-length book, either read it or listen to it in just 15 minutes, which is mind-blowing for me. I listened to a book called The Little Book of Hygge this morning when I was having my morning coffee, which is all about coziness and happiness and the Danish culture. So I definitely feel like the barn already has Hygge, even though it's a building site. For me, it really did encapsulate that. If you'd like to try out Blinkist, they have over 3,000 titles for you to choose from in a range of topics. Like I said, you can read them in 15 minutes or listen to them podcast style. The first 100 of our subscribers to click the link in our description get a 7-day unlimited free trial to the app, and also 25% off a premium membership. Like I said, it is completely free, the 7-day free trial, and you can cancel it at any time.
So it's all gone really well so far. I've completed the task 95%, and now I've got the magic paintbrush, a bit of water, and I'm going to clean it all up and make it tidy. It doesn't have to look too good. This is going to be underground eventually. There's going to be gravel going up to here, which then any water comes down, seeps through the gravel, goes into a pipe and runs away from the building. And also this up to about here anyway is going to be covered in, it's like a plastic
protective membrane, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll show you later, because that is what you basically curl up the side of the building, and then any water gathers in that, and it means that it can't hit the stones and go through the wall anyway. So yeah, I just need to clean it up now.
He's only gone and done it. How good does it look? So nice to see that completely filled in now. What a task though. That trench really is narrow as hell. I love it. I love it so much.
Oh, it's heavy. This is the plastic matting that I was talking about. So, put it down. So basically, I believe what you do, you lay it out, you have it like a 90-degree angle. So it goes on the floor and then up the wall. And then you've got this. This is piping and it's got loads of really small holes in it. So what that will do, any water that builds up will seep into them holes and then it will draw it away from the back of the house into these plastic pipes, and then that will shoot it, I don't know, a good 10 meters plus away from the property. So once that's all in, no problems at all. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So we've just set up the scaffolding inside with the half scaffolding that we made ourselves, so I can actually get to the top without the full scaffolding hitting the ceiling. And what we're going to do is the same thing that we did outside, just go over with the hammer and chisel and kind of design the wall and take some smaller stones out that maybe are a little bit close or in the way and not doing what they should be doing, and just cleaning out the joints. So obviously we've added about 1 meter to the height of this barn. So what that means is, obviously when you're building you use mortar, so I need to chip away the mortar so I've got enough space to put the next layer of pointing on, and then lower down there's nothing. All of the mortar's just been basically washed away over time and just disintegrated.
Yeah,
so
it's chipping out the mortar that's like squashed out between the stones, isn't it?
Exactly, but I tell you what, I'm absolutely knackered. But I'm pushing through because we're finally inside, which is incredibly excited because, guys, as soon as I pointed this and we've whitewashed the walls, that means the floor goes down. And then we move in with like furniture, wood burner, building the bed, the mezzanine, the kitchen. There's so much to come after that, but I can't wait to see it. It's just like a blank canvas where we can really add our mark to this building. So there's obviously no reason for me to chip this mortar completely out because that's what's holding the wall together and the ridge beam sitting on top of that. So you want to make sure that you don't go too far back, but I just need like enough to add the new mortar in so I can really get in there and shape it the way I want to shape it. And you can see there's a couple of stones here, and what they did when they built this wall is they put like the main stones in, and they just wedged little stones in that aren't really doing anything. So you can see this one here, it's just completely loose, it's not structural at all, and there's no way I can point around that because there's no room whatsoever. So I'm just going to take that stone out, and now I've got a nice area where I can point around.
Whilst Theo's up there on the scaffold, I'm going to stay down here using our favourite tool ever, the Hoover, to get through all the gaps of the old mortar down here, because we did clean this out, not a very deep clean, about a year ago now, so a lot of it's already been removed, but we never hoovered it, so I'm going to do that right now. Before I get started though, this is actually full, I'm fairly sure, because it feels really heavy. Let's check it. Oh yeah, definitely. It's so full that it's even started coming out of the bag, so I'm just going to swap the bag out. This is great, we didn't use one up to begin with and it did turn out to be a bit of a mess. Look, we've got it so full that it's ripped. But we picked these up in Aki. I think it's about a tenner for a pack of, I don't even know. But there's still some in there, so I'm going to swap that out and then I can get hoovering. But that's ripped, so it's going to be a bit of a mess. That is so heavy. Oh, that is so heavy. If you're new to our channel, or maybe this is the first video you've ever seen of us building our house, we are completely off-grid. So if we want to use the vacuum cleaner, we have to use our friend Stanley, who is the absolute best generator of all time. He's an absolute trooper, works his socks off, has never let us down, starts every single time, powers the mixer, powers the vacuum, powers the light when it's night time and we've still got to work. And up at our caravan that we're living in, whilst we are renovating the barn, we have solar, so we're going to eventually have a nice big solar setup on the barn as well, but for now it's generator power, so fingers crossed he does me proud and starts like I said he always does, first time. I've just turned the Hoover off and you can see that the Hoover's made a pretty good difference in getting rid of loads of the dirt that was on here. There was all cobwebs, old straw, because the straw used to go up to like here and here. So hoovered it, which has been great. It's given us some good visual guides to where we need to work, but it's also uncovered some little patches where there is still some old mortar in here, like here. It's very crumbly, it's almost like dirt, like you can see this here. That is not, let me just grab the chisel. So this right here, that is just old mortar. See, it just comes off. So we need to get that out now. So that's been really good cleaning it. It's going to be a double cleaner job, but it'll be worth it in the end because it'll make it so much easier for Theo to point, and this wall is going to be such a feature. I literally cannot wait.
pretty much the whole wall now. Still need to hoover some out, but this is now too high to get right into the edges, so the only areas that I need to do now are basically by the wall at the top of the rafter either side. So I'm going to take these off and then crack on with it. I tell you what, I can barely feel my arm. It's aching to a next degree.
Mine is, I was just doing a tiny bit of what you did and my arm is already aching. I feel so sorry for you.
It's the pointing, like on the back wall. I've been working on that wall for like a week, and your hand is constantly higher like this, like probably about eye level, and just doing that constantly. And at night, I can barely hold my phone. It's ridiculous.
Building muscle at least. You might remember a while ago, these black stones behind us, we tried to clean them with quite a few different tactics. We tried the drill with the little bristle brush on it, we tried bicarbonate of soda, vinegar, loads of different acids, loads of different cleaning things, and nothing really budged this black stain which came from a fire way before we ever got this barn. And I've got something that I'm hoping...
It wasn't a fire that burnt the barn
No,
down.
yeah, it didn't burn the barn down. It was basically someone used to use this corner as basically the place where they would cook and keep warm and things, but it meant that the stones have got stained, which isn't that bad because it kind of adds to the history of the place. But I also thought, if I can get it off, I'd like to get it off. This is where I'm standing right here. This will be a little chair, a little reading corner, having my morning coffee. So I thought I'm going to try this new thing. I got some acidy kind of stuff that's designed for cleaning stones. So Theo's taken on vacuum duties at the top of the scaffolding. Looks like he's having fun. And I'm going to try this stuff. I don't want to get it on the lime because this bottle of stuff is designed to basically get rid of that. So I'm going to try it here. Just a little spray. Hang on, I need to open it. There we go. See how it works. Definitely made a difference. Look at that. The only problem is the mud's coming involved, but you can see a lot of the black's gone. I quite like the little speckles of black in it though. Like it's still got the story, but it's just not quite as harsh. It's going to really stick out when the walls are white.
When it's pointed it will. Just look at the back wall.
Yeah, that looks nice with the little black bits though, I like it.
Yeah, you can always do a second pass.
It worked!
It worked!
It worked!
The 10th different thing we've tried. Guys, how good does this look? You can see the definition now between each one of the stones. You can see the gaps bigger, which is perfect for pointing. We did actually, if you're an avid follower and you remember back before, we actually cleaned this wall before and didn't do a very good job because we didn't know what we were doing. But now we do. We did a much better job, and I know what's needed to be able to point it. The last thing we need to do is just go over with a stiff brush all over the stones and just scrub them back to get any excess dirt before I start pointing. But that is one massive wall. I can't wait to see how it's going to look pointed. It's the last thing that's really going to tie all of the walls together. I know it's going to look amazing. I just got to build up the energy to actually do it. My arm right now feels like it's going to fall off. I can barely lift it. But we're going to move on to something else right now and get the tractor fired up, and we're going to go and sort out the raised beds and actually get them in position and dig them out and level them, ready to start planting stuff, because the season is starting and we don't want to be left behind, and we need to plant our winter veggies. So now we need to figure out where our raised beds are going to go, and they're kind of in the rough position where we want them. We just need to move them around maybe a couple of feet, and then we're going to dig them slightly into the ground. And I know a lot of you guys are worried about, you know, like flexing once this is filled with logs and soil and stuff like that and compost, that it was going to explode and kind of push out, which is true, but they're not completely finished yet. I need to get some L brackets, and I'm going to put a beam across the top here, and that's going to stop it from bulging out. And because we're burying them like slightly in the ground, that's going to stop the bottoms bulging out as well. So this one's just about done. It's a lot of effort in this heat. But yeah, it's nearly done. I'm just stamping down the soil, and it's so much stronger. Now it's buried, it's got nowhere to go in the bottom. Once I put that brace in the top, pretty sure we won't have a problem, but it's looking good. It's a lot of digging. I wish I had a digger right about now. That is a dream of mine. But it's looking good. On to the next.
The raised beds are in their final resting place, and they are level. They are so level, and to let you know how level they are, we first did a test with a golf ball and a piece of wood, and then we got my phone out and did it with that, which was bang on, because we've actually lost our spirit level, but they look so good. And now that they've been... What are you doing? Playing with my leg? Now that they've been wedged into the ground, they're rock solid. Absolutely rock solid. So we've just positioned this one. What are you doing? He keeps sitting on my leg and then fighting with it. It's got the holes around the edges still, so Theo's tasked with the final hideous dirty bit. It's been dirty, hasn't it?
So dirty.
Look at all that soil, so that's all just going to go back in to pack it all in nicely, and then it really does hold it down. Theo is going to be putting some braces along the middle as well before it's filled up, but I'm loving the positioning. Let's see it from another angle. Let's look down here. Oh, they look great. So great. I can't wait to start planting things. I've just put the chickens to bed. It's been a fantastically productive day. I really hope that you've enjoyed today's video, and if you have, make sure you've subscribed, click that like button and drop a comment. So I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a great day.